New York City, because that's where it was, they had 343 of their firefighters, because they went to the first buildings and the second buildings and all rescuing, because they didn't know really what they had. They just thought they had a plane and go in there with just some fire and they could put it out and maybe rescue. But the thing is, when the building come down, but it was 343, and then up to this date, I saw just the other day, 257 have died from cancer or toxic from all that work of rescuing and looking for members and everything. It's terrible, but then also all the other people, like police and citizens, the people inside, it was like 2,977 that died. So it's just a terrible day.
This day on 9/11, when we mark the 20th anniversary, I know it was a hard one for many people because all of us have stories of that day. I grew up in New York, in Brooklyn, and today I am so thankful to our volunteer firefighters who here in Takoma Park honored those firefighters in New York who sacrificed their lives that day. And it's just, each of us have our own stories.
I was working in Rockville that day. Awe of the overwhelmingness of it all. The images on TV, the devastation, the chaos that ensued, and the uncertainty of what was next. That's my biggest memory.
It brings back a lot of sad memories. We see on TV, we saw what happened, the heroes that went in to save the people that were coming out and the ones they couldn't get to, and the families that were left behind, and the people that are still suffering and dying today as a result of it. It's a very sad occasion, but it's one that has to be remembered, and it's one that we have to celebrate.
9/11 was a little personal for me. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, in the Fort Greene area. So seeing that skyline it's very personal for me. On that day, I'm actually working here in Montgomery County and was sent down to the Pentagon. And it was a little disturbing because I couldn't talk to my family members at the time. My grandmother at the time still lived in Brooklyn, and trying to get in touch with her, we normally talk once a day. It was like maybe 3 or 4 days later when I was able to even talk to her.
The part of New York where I grew up is in Brooklyn, and it's an area that has a lot of firefighters and police officers live. And that day, as we know, as people were rushing from the towers, so many of them were rushing towards the tragedy to save as many people as they could. And growing up in New York, my grandfather was a police officer there. There's certain things about the day that really touched me, and the heroism of our first responders was unbelievable.
And you have a bigger connection with what happened with them in New York because you have a responsibility. When someone's in danger, someone needs your help, that's our responsibility, is to go in and try our best to help them as best we can. The reality is that we're not guaranteed to come back. And those guys, the 343, they knew that going into that building that we may not come back home, but they had a job to do. So they're heroes that I don't think we'll ever be able to get to their level. I would hope to be that way one day, but it's very honorable. I think we're both very proud to be firefighters, for that reason.
That for us, it's part of the job. We are bred to our lives to come second. So I can understand why they went in the building. We are supposed to go and save people, no matter what, and that's what we always done. And for people who still love the job, that didn't discourage them at all. And if today, if a high-rise building was on fire, we're not going to stop because of something that happened. We still need to do a job, and we're still going to do the job that we love.
It's not. It's beautiful. It's in my bloodline. I want to continue the career. I want to continue the torch, light the fire. But remember 9/11. That reminds you why I really want to do it. It's just something For a lot of people, it's a very dangerous, heroic thing. For me, what I saw was the guys doing their job, and it was the best job in the world, and there's nothing more I want more than to be a firefighter.
If he likes to help people, it's a great thing to do. That's the reward of it, you know. Whether it's a career, volunteer, we help our community, you know. So, and that's if you like to help people, if you like to help your community, then this is the best way to do it. You know, you give back what you.
It's the best reward. Somebody saying thank you and for helping me. That's the best you can get. I can't think of anything better than that.
You know, it's terrible, you know, and all the firefighters, career and volunteer, I mean, it's a terrible thing that we had that happen. I mean, firefighters die, you know, across the country. Right now, we have 88 firefighters that have died. Of course, most of those were covert. You know, most of those were, but we up today, yesterday was 88 have died across the country. It's a dangerous job. It's a great job. I always say it's, you know, a great job of helping people, saving lives. And I even say it's fun. And then somebody will say, fun? How could that be fun? What I'm talking about, when you get a crew like today, they're here for 24 hours, 7 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. So don't you think they might tell a joke, tell something about their family, laugh about something? We don't want them to be, you know, sorrow and, you know, tears and all that. But this is a home away from home.
Well, I mean, certainly it's tragic. It's brought a new light to the profession of firefighting, whether it be career, volunteer. It really drew a lot of light to what we do. It changed the way we train. It transformed the fire department, honestly. You know, our training increased, our budgets increased, our personnel increased. Those are the positives that came out of it, honestly. That tragedy, the positives that came out were that.
The event today was for us something special. We had our group get together and ring the bell out front for 343 times to honor the 343 firefighters that perished in the 9/11 Twin Towers.
We did the first anniversary, and then we did the 10th anniversary, and then we said, let's ring the bell, and you know, and that's it. Beautiful day.